Welcome back. We are at the conclusion. Ron, I am so excited. I was at the edge of my seat yesterday, but the rest of this information is so good.
Yeah, this is like the meats and potatoes, man. This is my favorite part.
Right. And so for those of you that have stuck with us into now day 4 with Jason, part 3 of the podcast hour, you have a treat in front of you. And so without further ado, let's get to it. Have you ever wondered how highly successful entrepreneurs think?
So did we. So we asked hundreds of entrepreneurs a very simple question. If they had perfect hindsight, what advice would they give themselves?
I am Corey Carter.
And I'm Ron Cool.
Join us on our journey implementing and sharing all of our learnings while we hack our hindsight along with our guest hindsight to give us all better foresight.
Listen along the way as we find and unlock their secrets that made them successful through hidden traffic, joint ventures, and much, much more. This is Hindsight Hack.
All right, guys, welcome back. Glad to be back at Hindsight Hacking. Today we're going to jump right into secret 2, but before I do that, I kind of want to give a recap about secret number 1 yesterday for drop servicing secrets, agency secrets. Secret number 1, guys, this was really cool, is that you can get a high ticket client without having any money, right? You don't have to actually throw money to acquire a client. Very huge misperception. If you didn't catch yesterday's secret, go listen to it. It was awesome. Okay. But just to recap, you don't need to go take out loans to start an agency. You don't need a bunch of money to start a business. Okay. You can do it super easy. All you need is a social media platform, a website scheduler or call scheduler, and that's it. And you can get started. Okay. So go listen to yesterday's podcast because it's good stuff. So without further ado, let's jump in. Secret number 2. Today we're going to talk about how to get started right away, even without any skills. Okay. And I got to tell you, secret number 3 is my favorite secret, and that's going to be tomorrow. But if I had to pick a second favorite, it's secret number 2. Okay. Your mind is going to be blown. I promise. This is awesome. All right. I gotta kind of rewind a little bit here on how I got into this, but I'm going to tell you a little story about what's called white label agencies. I had no idea how it exists. I had no idea what they were, but I'm going to tell you how I fell into them. Right. So I was watching YouTube videos and I was trying to figure out how to hire, because I was swiping my credit card left and right, trying to get people to help me with the overburden of work that I had, because I had so many clients that I couldn't handle all the work and I had no time to do it. So I was just hiring people left and right and not knowing what the hell I was doing. So I was hiring these freelancers on Upwork and Fiverr and stuff like that. And they just do crappy jobs, right? Like terrible jobs. And finally I hired this, I was watching this YouTube video, and it was this virtual assistant. A virtual assistant, if you don't know what a virtual assistant is, it's just like having an assistant, but it's a virtual assistant, someone that helps you in online marketing space. Okay, so I was watching this video, and this virtual assistant was talking about doing all the stuff that I was trying to do, right? So I was looking up virtual assistants, and the virtual assistant, when I called them on the phone, I scheduled them because of their YouTube video. They were telling me, they were like, yeah, and I even give me your email address so we can white label it. I'll white label your email so that it looks like it's coming from your company. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not going to give you access to my email account though. I didn't want to create it. And it was just like more confusing. No. Just it will forward. I have the software for it, and we'll set it up. It's a white label email. So like after I learned this, like my mind got blown, right? I'm like, holy cow, white label agency. So this is huge, guys. This is actually awesome. You can hire someone else to do the work for you, just like a VA, just like a freelancer, but they're going to put your company logo and they're going to use your email address because of the software that they use and the services that they use. So it looks like it's coming from your company. Does that make sense? So all of your clients get the work that they're doing with your company logo on it. It's awesome. It's really cool. Plus, they even run the full reports for you. All right. This part was like amazing when I finally hired, because I was like, wow, I don't have to do any of this crap anymore. I was like wearing myself out, emailing each client individually, and I'm like, hey, by the way, I did this, this, and this, and this for you this week, and here's this, and you're ranking here, and here's how many clicks you got, and this is that. I was killing myself, right? And these white label agencies, they run the reports, and I got a couple screenshots here. If you guys watch the video version of this. Full reports. You get to see the rankings, the click-through rates, even scroll mapping. That one's a cool one too. So if somebody goes to your website and they stop on a certain thing on your website and then scroll, it tells you every time someone does that. It's called scroll mapping, right? So if something's catching their attention on that website, move that up to the front, right? Get them to engage with it. It's pretty awesome. So the white label agencies, they run the reports for you. It's badass. Like every single week. Boom, they go out. But it doesn't end there, right? White label agencies also, they usually have tools that you can use to your advantage. For example, the white label agency that I use, which I'll drop a link, or you can ask me in the Facebook group at Virtuous Marketing. You guys can hit me up. I'm more than happy to give you the companies that I use. But this one little tool right here, it's called website audits. The reason I love this is because when you're reaching out to a client and you hand them an audit report, or even if you're on a Zoom call or whatever, and you give them and you show them that their website score is 54.3 out of 100, they don't like that, right? That's tangible to them. So before, you had this perception like SEO is this impossible thing and there's no way to gauge it, and there's no way. No, your website's not healthy. Look. You're missing keyword rankings. You're missing off-page optimizations. You're missing on-page optimizations. You're missing competitor analysis. Businesses love that, right? Because it goes from being this digital mystery to becoming this tangible thing. Like, oh my gosh, wow, we can actually fix this. So, and that's just one thing. That's just SEO, right? There's so many different ways, but these white label agencies make it all possible for you to use. Awesome. It impresses so many people to get your foot in the door if you're trying to close a client or talk them into it in those conversations that we were talking about in yesterday's podcast. It helps. Here's the full report. It's awesome, guys. Now, everyone thinks this. It's not new. I thought it. Everybody did. You have to go to school. You got to get a degree. You got to have that certification before anyone will hire you, okay? So you got to go do this before you can get this. You have to go become this before you can become successful, right? Can't put the cart before the horse. We all think that way because we were told that. We all went through the same indoctrination system that we call the school system, right? I keep saying that, but it's so true. They keep telling us that this is how life works. And then we become adults and find out, oh yeah, that's not how life works. There's a whole bunch more to it, right? It's not true, guys. You don't have to master skills. You don't have to get certified. Now, again, obviously, if you're a doctor, disclaimer, doctors, lawyers, yes, there are jobs that you better be certified for. Yes, I get that. But we're talking about making money here, okay? We're talking about starting a business from home, from the comfort of your home. You don't need all that other crap anymore. Now, if you've ever watched this movie, and it's honestly one of my favorite movies of all time, was Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. I never read the book version of it, but the book version, he actually, so let me kind of just give you a synopsis of the movie. Leonardo DiCaprio played this character by the name of Frank Abagnale. And this kid, he was like 17 years old. He was counterfeiting checks, and he just started becoming this great imposter. He started like pretending he was an airline pilot, a doctor, a lawyer. Now, in the movie, they had the scene where he was teaching this class, but in the book, it was actually a very specific course that he was teaching. It was like an advanced physics course, right? It was like extreme, you better know what the hell you're talking about kind of course. And he taught it for an entire semester, right? And this is all based on a true story, by the way. Frank Abagnale was a very real person. And so like years later, when he got arrested and they caught him, they asked him, they're like, how did you teach an entire semester of advanced physics? How did you do that? And his response was simple. I read one chapter ahead of the students. You don't have to be an expert, guys. You just have to know more than your clients do. Okay, that's it. So when I said that you don't need skills, you can get started right away, I mean that. Okay, especially with these white label agencies, they're going to do the work for you. You don't need to know how to do the search engine optimization or the Facebook ads or the Google ads. There are full-grown agencies that are more than willing to do the work for you and slap your company logo on it. You get the clients, they'll do the work, right? It's that simple. So why? So like in retrospect, like going and taking all those courses that I took, all of the IT stuff that I did, and the years of studying and late nights reading the, you remember those books for dummies? Those were real popular. They're still around, but they were like really popular back then. Yeah, no need. Whole bunch of wasted time and energy that I put into all that. Ridiculous. You don't even need to do it anymore. So a lot of things that go through people's heads when I tell them this stuff, you get this fear of imposter syndrome, right? Like you're like, oh, but that's not right. It's unethical. I can't sell something that I'm not providing. And it's like, you have to slow down for a second and you have to like really analyze it, right? Because a lot of people ask, I mean, they're serious. They're like, how can I do that and take on these multiple clients without knowing what I'm doing? How is that right? My answer to that is that when I first started getting out in sales, I'll never forget this, right? And I was in my young 20s, and I was doing, actually, I started out in sales as a teenager, but when a first sales call in plumbing, when I was actually face-to-face with that customer, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't even know how half that stuff worked, right? I didn't know what was behind the wall and the piping, and I didn't know how to install it because I don't need that to sell it, right? I don't. All I had to do was tell them, I'm going to fix this problem for you. And then I get that problem fixed. It doesn't matter how I get it fixed. As long as I get it fixed, I'm the one getting it fixed for them, right? Because now I'm the salesman. And that's what a good business owner is. They're ultimately the best salesman for their business. Does that make sense? Are you getting this? You guys getting this? Are you following me on this? All right. It's that simple. If you're going to be having your own company, your own business, you don't have to do the work. All right. The boss in the corner office is never doing the work. He hires employees to do the work. See what I'm saying? So everyone always asks that. How can I help dozens of clients without any skills? That just doesn't make any sense. It's easy, guys. Price correctly. Like, make sure that pricing on that front end is good. Like, you're giving them so much value to solve that problem, and you're charging a good enough amount of money that you can pay, that you can afford to hire somebody else. Because once you hire somebody else, that money that's left over, that's called profit. And it's beautiful, right? So don't do what I did. Don't screw up your pricing and then be like, I have to hire somebody and go put it on a credit card. Stupid. No, bad Jason. Bad Jason. I'm not even kidding, man. Swiped my credit card like you wouldn't believe. I lost my mind on how much debt I've racked up because of dumb not pricing right, okay? And never undercut your prices, guys. Never undercut your prices, because a lot of people just want to get the client. No, they pay for the value that they're getting. Don't undercut your prices. You can have multiple versions of what you're offering them, but never ever drop your price just to get a client, because that's the fast way to losing money. That's free advice right there, guys. Seriously, write that down. Now, even if you don't plan to outsource, because a lot of you, I know imposter syndrome is a real thing. I still face it to this day. It's a real thing. I get it. So a lot of you are going to be like, I'm going to do the work myself. I'm not going to outsource. Believe me, you're going to want to hire an employee someday. You're going to want to hire somebody else because you're a business, right? So even if you don't plan on outsourcing, still adjust it into your prices. Trust me. Henry Ford said, I have a row of electric buttons in my office. All I have to do is press one of them to call the person who can answer that question on any subject I wish to know. Remember what I said on day one, guys? The very first thing, that all of the successful people delegate. None of them do the work. They do work, but they don't do the hard stuff, the time-consuming stuff, okay? The smart people delegate. And that's why this secret number 2 is so unbelievably powerful, because you can get started right away. Why do you have to be an expert on it? No, get the experts to do the work. You get the business. You're the business owner. Okay. You getting this? Is it making sense? Successful people delegate, guys. Now, a lot of people, I get this, and just like imposter syndrome, it's very similar. A lot of people say to themselves, what if they can tell that I'm a newbie, right? Like, what if they can tell that I don't really know what I'm doing and I'm just starting out? I got the fix all for you guys, okay? Because I know that's going to be one of the biggest things that's going through anyone's mind. The biggest fix all to this, if you're afraid of them thinking that you're a newbie, guys, embrace it. Okay? Embrace it. Utilize the fact that you are a newbie. Let them know I'm a newbie, but I am once motivated son of a gun. Okay? Because here's the beautiful part about being a newbie is that when you're a newbie, you can leverage other people's experience. And you're not really a newbie anymore. Now you're a protege, right? Now you're an inexperienced entrepreneur, right? Utilize a partnership. What does that mean? It means that if you build a relationship with existing agencies, like actually communicate with existing agencies, not just the white label agencies, but other people who are doing similar things, right? And you actually build a relationship and you start talking to them and you start having conversations with them, you can leverage their authority, right? Because you're obviously going to be like, hey, would you mind if I threw some work your way, right? If I get a client, they're usually going to be like, yeah, absolutely. You pay me? Okay. Yes, that's how businesses work, right? So if you're willing to do that, then they'd be willing to help you if you had questions. So at that point, you can always tell your clients, yes, I have a partnership. I work with this person. You can even have the agreement and call it a joint venture. Hey, I'll give you a percentage if you allow me to use your case studies. And that's the beautiful thing about white labeling agencies, because not only do you get their software and they run the reports for you, and you can do the website audits, and you're getting a professional to do the work, you can leverage their case studies. This one I have on my screen. If you're listening to the podcast, you can't see it, but I have a case study here for a car dealership. I literally used this exact case study to get my car dealership client. Okay. I seriously printed it out, and you don't have to do, I like the face-to-face stuff. Nobody really has, you don't have to, you can do it on Zoom calls or whatever. But I printed it out and I went there face-to-face in person. I sat down with them. I showed them what I was going to do for their business. And they said, well, does this work for car dealerships? Because that's what a lot of people ask. Well, does this work for whatever their niche is, right? Well, does this work for coffee shops? Well, does this work for florists, right? Everyone always asks that. So if you have a case study that is specific to that business, which white label agencies do, it's awesome to have that in your hand. Yeah, because you're not lying, right? This is the agency that I hired to do this for me, did this for their client, and I used it. I said, hey, here is the case study. This is the rates that we got them over X amount of time. And when I say we, I mean it, because this is the agency that I use. It's 100% accurate. You getting this? Is your mind blown? Is this you right now? I got to tell you guys.
No,
Sorry,
mine is blown right now.
yeah, I was just thinking, like, gosh, why haven't Ron and I already done this? Like,
Such an easy business model.
So Jason, 18 years,
yeah,
and you almost went full circle in an employment situation, and you basically needed to fire the boss, and then you started to create this, and you found like there's a free way to get business, right? Yeah. And then, the next piece that I really got is it's about the relationships, right? Like, it's about communication. It's about, all this stuff that you can do. You don't need the big, long education list, right? Unless you're that surgeon. But I like, if you were literally looking back, how did you discover these first two secrets?
Yeah, man. So, like, honestly, that's why I love the hindsight thing, because I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna get real here for a second. 2019 was a really bad year for me, like terrible year, because of the debt that I've accumulated for myself. And every time I got more clients, I was just burying myself further. You know what I mean? because my pricing was screwed up. I didn't, again, secret one, secret two. That's why these are so important, because it killed me. Like I 18 hours a day, 18 hours a day handling clients and handling all the work. And I was just so unbelievably stressed that I was like, this can't sustain. I was actually reaching out, not to white label agencies, but I was reaching out to other agencies trying to pawn off my clients to them. Like literally just being like, you want them, take them. Because I wanted to lighten my load. It was that overwhelming. And every time I hired somebody to help me with my work, and I would swipe that credit card. And the thing about credit cards is that they add up so fast. It comes out of nowhere, right? You're like, oh, I've got 10,000 limit on this credit card. No big deal. And so you swipe $100 here, $300 there, and then next thing you know, 3 months later, you're like, I've spent $6,000 on what, right? And it's like, I haven't even paid this down yet. I don't have enough money coming in. So it's like once you actually start, and that's my fault too, money management, I'm not gonna lie. But had I known all this, right? Like I'm putting it together and I'm trying to figure out ways to get around it, and I'm just trying to not pull my hair out. I don't want to work 18-hour days. I quit my job because I didn't want to work under someone else's rule, but I don't know if I made a good trade here. Seriously, I was like in a dark place, hating life. But then again, like when I started looking for people and partners to team up with, which is one of the hugest things, by the way, partnerships and relationships, which is why FHL was so awesome, because you build those relationships. It was stuff that I didn't think that was necessary for my business. I didn't think it was necessary for me. And it's so necessary, building those relationships, because those relationships allow other people to lighten that burden off of you. Like you guys, I'm sure you know, just the two of you working together probably makes things so much easier, right?
Oh, I'll tell you right now, and you know, Corey and I have shared this. You know, I don't even know if we've shared this on the podcast, but I will tell you, we'll just stick with the podcast itself. You know, I had a death in the family.
I'm sorry.
And well, thank you. I appreciate it. But we had a deadline to hit this podcast launch. So it was 2 holidays, right? So this is last year. We're going into last year. 2 holidays, death in the family. And by the way, we didn't know what a podcast like entailed. Like, so that was all new. And if it wasn't for Corey, there's absolutely no way we would have stayed on track.
Right. That's awesome.
Right.
That's
yeah, it's all about having the right partnerships. And no matter what you're doing, whether you're working by yourself, whether you're hiring someone virtually like a VA or a white label, right? Like it's no matter what, you need the right partnerships to truly survive. You know, some employers hire employees, like you said.
You heard how I ended 2019, and you heard secret number 1 about how getting that first client is a lot easier than people make it out to be. And secret number 2, it really saved my ass from the amount of credit card. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm still getting myself out of it. But what it did was it allowed more free time, and it allowed me to get a better view of the world, right? These white label agencies. So if I can pass that off to other people and let you see how well it is that you need it for your business to do things correctly from the beginning, then by all means, guys, I'm going to be honest and truthful about it, is that there is a learning curve behind it. So you got to make sure that you're doing it right from the get-go, right? So that's just, I wanted to tell you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. I finally freed up so much time for myself because of this secret. Okay. The white label agencies, it's huge. And tomorrow I'm going to jump into how you can actually manage multiple clients, and you can do it without an ads budget, and show you some tricks on how you can find clients that want your services.
I can't wait for secret number 3. Bring on tomorrow.
All right, everyone. Definitely hit the link in the show notes below and jump on board in the 6-figure agency. Jason will teach you so many things in there. You know, even if you're not looking to run your own agency, there's definitely other things that he is teaching to help you with different traffic avenues, to help you with different softwares. Like it's some really, really good stuff. And but Juan, I think we have a special treat coming for tomorrow.
I think so. So guys, normally we do 2 takeaways after every show, but podcast ours are a little bit different. We do a whole recap. So what we're going to do is just kind of go through the offer ourselves, really understand it, and then we're going to just talk about it in the whole show tomorrow.
All right. So definitely everyone, find us on Facebook, Hindsight Hacking. Find us at podcastinar.com. You can find us on YouTube and the Hindsight Hacking page. You can watch every episode that we just went through with Jason. And we have so much more coming your way. But definitely tomorrow, we're just going to go through Jason's offer. And I've had the privilege of actually being in his course. And I'm about halfway through it. So I'm going to give you a sneak peek into what I've learned so far.
Can't wait. I can't wait. Guys, thank you for being the best part of the Hindsight Hackers community. And once again, thank you for hitting click, like, subscribe on YouTube.